When you cross the age of 60, life changes in ways you never expected. The noise begins to fade, the rush of work, the chaos of raising children, the constant worry about the future. And in that silence, something sacred begins to appear. You realize that this stage of life isn't about running anymore. It's about walking slowly but with purpose. It's about protecting what truly matters, not your possessions, but your peace, your health, your dignity, your freedom, and the joy that makes life still worth living. You've already given decades to others, your time, your strength, your love. And you did it without hesitation. But after 60, there are certain things that must never be given away again. Not for your children, not for your spouse, and not even for those you love most. Because when you give up these things, you don't gain love, you lose yourself. Let's begin with the most fragile treasure you must not sacrifice, your health. Once it's gone, nothing else stands. Never give it up for anyone. When you're young, health feels like something you can borrow. You can stay up late, skip meals, push through exhaustion, and still get up the next day. But when you're older, your body becomes like fine glass, strong in places, but easy to crack if you're careless. I once met a man named Robert, a retired engineer who worked his whole life to give his children everything. He used to skip his medical checkups to save money for his son's business. He ignored his doctor's advice because he didn't want to be a burden. But one morning, he collapsed in his kitchen. A minor stroke, they said. The real tragedy wasn't the illness. It was that he could no longer live independently. His son cried and said, "Dad, I never wanted this." Robert had sacrificed his health for love, but what he got in return was regret from everyone. Health is not selfish. It's survival. You cannot pour tea from an empty cup. If you collapse, you are the one who suffers the most. The truth is, no one can take your medicine for you, walk your steps for you, or sleep your hours for you. So guard your body with devotion. Dwell. Rest deeply. Move daily. And reject guilt when someone says you're too focused on yourself. You're not. You're simply honoring the only vessel you have left to live in. Protect your health, and you'll protect everything else that matters. Next, guard your dignity and self-worth. They define who you are long after youth fades. Never let anyone, not even family, make you feel small. As people age, society often tries to shrink them. You may notice it in small ways, the way someone talks to you like you're a child, or how your opinions are dismissed as old-fashioned. But dignity isn't a luxury that fades with age. It's the crown you've earned through every storm you've survived. Think of Maria, a grandmother who lived with her daughter and son-in-law. She cooked, cleaned, helped raise her grandkids, and yet, they often spoke to her sharply, saying she was too slow or forgetful. At first, Maria laughed it off, not wanting to cause trouble. But over time, her laughter disappeared. She began to eat alone, avoid conversation, and feel invisible in her own home. One day, her neighbor, another senior, told her gently, "You don't owe them your silence. You've earned your respect." That sentence changed Maria's life. She started standing up for herself, speaking kindly but firmly. The atmosphere shifted. Her family began to notice her again, not as a burden, but as a person with wisdom and grace. Dignity and self-worth are not negotiable. Once you surrender them, people begin to treat you as though your existence is optional. But when you hold your head high, when you know your value, others are forced to rise to your level. Remember, you are not defined by what you can still give. You are defined by who you are, a survivor, a builder, a teacher of life's hardest lessons. Without dignity, old age becomes misery. With it, you walk with quiet pride. The third treasure you must protect is time, your most precious currency. Spend it wisely, and never waste it on those who don't value it. Never give it up for anyone. When you're younger, time feels endless. You think you can always make up for what you lose. One more weekend, one more chance. But after 60, every minute becomes golden. Time is no longer just passing, it's disappearing. And once it's gone, it never comes back. I remember an old neighbor, George, who spent his retirement years constantly helping others. He was always fixing someone's leaky pipe, babysitting grandkids, driving friends around. He rarely had a day for himself. One day I asked him, "George, when was the last time you did something just for you?" He smiled but didn't answer. A few months later, he fell ill, and for the first time, he said, "I gave all my time away, but I never kept a little for my own soul." Time should be spent where it nourishes you. Reading, walking, painting, resting. These are not luxuries. They're the real rewards of a life well lived. Don't waste hours on meaningless arguments or trying to please people who never notice your effort. You've earned the right to live deliberately. Choose joy without apology. When you protect your time, you're not being selfish. You're respecting the final, irreplaceable currency of your life. Next comes something invisible but essential: peace of mind. No relationship or obligation is worth constant stress. You must not sacrifice your calm for anyone's chaos. After 60, drama, conflict, and constant stress can steal years from your life faster than illness. You may notice that certain people, sometimes even family, bring chaos wherever they go. They call you only to complain, they turn every conversation into guilt or blame, and you leave feeling heavy, not loved. There was a widow named Evelyn who lived with her 2 adult sons. They constantly fought over money, inheritance, and whose turn it was to take her to appointments. She often found herself crying at night, wondering if she'd failed as a mother. One day, her doctor told her something profound. "Your blood pressure isn't from age. It's from conflict." That was her wake-up call. She started setting small boundaries, leaving the room when arguments began, turning off her phone after dinner, and spending mornings in the park instead of in tension. Within weeks, her face softened, her sleep improved, and her laughter returned. Peace of mind is not a gift others can give you. It's a shield you must build. Walk away from conversations that poison your spirit. Protect your emotional energy like it's gold. Choose silence over shouting, calm over chaos, and distance over destruction. Serenity doesn't mean isolation. It means choosing environments that help you breathe again. Because peace is the oxygen of old age. Without it, joy, sleep, and health all fade away. Now we arrive at the 5th treasure. Hold tight to your independence. Every choice you keep is a piece of your freedom. Never hand it over just to please someone. In old age, people often treat independence like a luxury, something optional, something you eventually give up. But in truth, independence is freedom, even in the smallest things. Being able to choose your clothes, decide your meals, handle your money, or say no when you disagree. These choices keep your spirit alive. Take the story of Harold, a retired school principal. After his wife passed, his children urged him to move in with them. Out of love, he agreed. But slowly he noticed decisions being made for him, what he should eat, when he should rest, even which clothes he should wear. One day, his daughter replaced his old, worn armchair without asking. Harold didn't argue, but that evening he sat on his bed for hours, feeling like a guest in his own life. Eventually, he decided to reclaim small freedoms. He started cooking his own breakfast again, managing his bank account, and going for short walks without asking permission. His family was surprised but proud. His independence brought back his spark. Independence is not pride, it's dignity in action. Of course, ask for help when needed. None of us can do everything alone. But never surrender your entire control unless it's absolutely necessary. Dependence without necessity invites control and pity. Independence, even in simple acts, reminds the world that you still belong to yourself. And when you hold on to your independence, your mind stays sharper, your emotions steadier, and your soul free. Because every decision you make by choice, not by command, is a quiet declaration: I still live on my own terms. Let's continue. Never sacrifice your financial stability. You've earned it with years of effort. Don't let guilt or pressure take it away. Protect it fiercely. Money may not buy happiness, but losing it can bring deep misery, not only because of what you can't afford, but because of the fear and dependence that follow. You've spent decades earning, saving, and providing for others. That money represents more than paper or numbers. It's your independence, your safety net, your freedom to make choices without begging for permission. I once met an elderly woman named Judith. She had worked as a nurse for over 30 years and had saved diligently her whole life. But after retirement, one of her children convinced her to invest in a family business that never existed. She wanted to help, so she signed over her savings without much thought. Within a year, it was gone, and so was her sense of security. She said softly, "I thought I was helping my family, but I was really taking away their chance to respect me." That's the sad truth. Giving away everything out of guilt doesn't build love. It builds dependence and regret. Your children and grandchildren have time to rebuild. You may not. Protect your savings the same way you protect your health. Cautiously, wisely, and with boundaries. Keep control of your bank accounts. Double-check every signature. Be generous, yes, but with balance. Real love doesn't pressure you to empty your pockets. A true family won't make you choose between kindness and stability. Your money isn't greed, it's your peace of mind. It's what allows you to buy medicine when you need it, travel when your heart desires, and sleep without worry. So hold on to it. Because when you guard your finances, you're not protecting your wallet, you're protecting your dignity and your freedom. Now, let's talk about something invisible but absolutely vital: boundaries. Keep your boundaries firm. Love needs space to stay healthy. Never let anyone cross your limits in the name of family or care. As we grow older, the line between love and obligation can blur. You want to help your children, support your friends, and be there for everyone. But without boundaries, kindness turns into exhaustion. Take the story of Ellen, a 67-year-old widow who moved in with her son's family after retirement. She loved cooking and taking care of her grandchildren, but soon the expectations grew. She cooked every meal, cleaned every room, and was constantly on call. When she tried to rest, her daughter-in-law said, "Mom, you're home all day. What else do you have to do?" That sentence cut deep. Ellen wasn't ungrateful, but she was tired of being treated as a servant instead of a loved one. One morning, she sat down with her son and said calmly, "I love you all deeply, but I'm not your housekeeper. I need my time too." The conversation wasn't easy, but it changed everything. They began sharing chores again. Her daughter-in-law started appreciating her more. For the first time, Ellen felt peace instead of pressure. Boundaries are not walls to block love. They are the fences that keep love healthy. Without them, resentment grows, and relationships crumble under silent anger. Boundaries say, "I can help, but not at the cost of my peace." They teach others how to love you without using you. So don't be afraid to say no. No to unreasonable requests. No to toxic arguments. No to giving beyond what your heart and energy can afford. The people who truly love you will understand, and those who don't, well, their reaction will show what they really valued: your help or your heart. Next, hold on to your faith and beliefs. They're your anchor when the world shifts. Never give them up for approval or acceptance. As you age, the world around you changes faster than you can blink. The values you grew up with may no longer be popular. People may laugh at traditions or dismiss your beliefs as old-fashioned. But faith, whatever it means to you, is the thread that holds your spirit together when everything else feels uncertain. I once spoke to an old fisherman named Samuel who lost his wife after 50 years of marriage. For months, he felt lost. His children lived far away, and every day seemed endless. But each morning, he sat by the sea and prayed quietly, not asking for miracles, but thanking life for what he had lived through. That small act became his lifeline. It gave him purpose. It gave him peace. Your beliefs are your roots. Whether it's religion, philosophy, or a personal moral code, they guide you when your body weakens and the world becomes confusing. Don't let anyone mock or shame you for what keeps you grounded. If prayer calms your heart, if meditation helps you breathe, or if simple gratitude gives you strength, guard that fiercely. Faith doesn't mean closing your mind, it means opening your heart to meaning. At 60, 70, or 80, belief is not a superstition, it's survival of the soul. When you hold on to your faith and values, every day carries a quiet sense of purpose, no matter what life takes away. And finally, never, ever give up your joy. It's what keeps your soul alive. Protect it, because joy is the light that makes the rest of life worth living. Too often, older people are made to feel guilty for being happy. You hear things like, you shouldn't spend money on travel, or, you're too old to dance, or, you should be serious at your age. But joy has no age limit. It's not childish, it's essential. It's what keeps the light in your eyes, even when your hair turns silver. There was a man named Peter, 72 years old, who loved playing the guitar. His wife used to laugh and say, "You sound like a teenager." But after she passed, he stopped playing for years. One day, his granddaughter found his guitar in the attic and begged him to play. He hesitated, then strummed a few rusty chords. Within minutes, the entire family was clapping, singing, smiling. That night, Peter said, "I thought I was too old for joy, but joy was never too old for me." Joy is not just laughter, it's medicine. It lowers your stress, strengthens your heart, and fills your days with color. It might come from gardening, painting, cooking, music, or simply sitting under the sun with your morning coffee. Whatever it is, protect it. Don't let guilt or judgment take it away. Because when you stop doing what makes you happy, life becomes gray even under bright skies. You've spent your youth taking care of others. Now it's time to take care of your happiness. Joy doesn't mean ignoring responsibility, it means choosing life even in small moments. When you laugh freely, you don't just heal yourself, you heal the people around you too. And now, as we reach the end, let's tie everything together with the message that carries it all. In conclusion, when you reach 60 and beyond, life is no longer about endless sacrifice. It's about living fully, proudly, and without apology. You've already proved your love, through decades of hard work, sleepless nights, and countless acts of care. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion anymore. Protect these 9 treasures: your health, your dignity and self-worth, your time, your peace of mind, your independence, your financial security, your boundaries, your faith and values, and your joy. They are not selfish desires. They are the pillars of a strong spirit. If you surrender them, even for love, you don't gain respect. You lose your essence. But if you protect them, you'll discover that old age is not the end of freedom. It's the beginning of true peace. So walk with your head high. Dwell. Sleep deeply. Laugh loudly. Say no when you must, and yes when it brings you peace. Keep your faith close and your joy alive. Because in the end, you don't grow old, you grow wise. And wisdom, when lived with dignity, is the most beautiful form of freedom. When you guard these 9 things, no one can take your happiness away. You will not just grow older, you will grow freer, calmer, and more alive than ever before. And that, my friends, is how you win the last chapter of your life, not by giving everything away, but by holding tight to what makes your soul whole.